Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm back again for the next ICG webinar where we are going to be talking about how estate agents can prepare for 2021. It's certainly going to be a tough year. I know a lot of you are out there making hay while the sun shines, but I think 2021 is going to be a completely different kettle of fish. So I'd like to go to Iain White, who represents and guides an awful lot of estate agents out there. Iain, what's the finger on the pulse? What are people thinking about what 2021 will have installed once we've had this stamp duty rush out the way? Talk to me.
I think the general consensus is we will see a slowdown of some sort. I think the next general consensus is that nobody knows to what extent. So I think you have to plan for it to get pretty tough out there now to avoid you being a victim of that. So there is definitely uncertainty, but it's got to be tracking down. There are people, experts on the ICG that will give you some data, but it's definitely tracking down the market and is likely to continue to do so if we're honest with ourselves. Okay.
Kristjan, how are you getting? I know you're more of a lettings agent though, aren't you?
Yeah, so look, lettings, I think we're, sales is a little bit of our business, and I think we're expecting the next couple of years to be particularly tough for sales in London. Lettings, there's still a lot of uncertainty. We're still working with a lot of landlords in areas. We're seeing a massive disparity in the impact on rent levels and demand. So we're still seeing that ironing out very much over the end of the year, although very much in line with what our expectations were sort of March, April, when this all kicked off. So I think really for us, nothing's really changed for us as a business. I think the same things still stay true. Automate as much as you can, streamline as much as you can, look at in-house costs versus outsourcing costs, and particularly an outsourcing service where you can dial it up or down according to the demand. And at the end of the day, if the market's really tough, that allows you to rein in your costs and hopefully stay above the line. And then if things are better than expected, or when things dial up, then that just helps you achieve that profitability. So I don't think it's necessarily specific for a tough market. I think really what you apply in a tough market is going to see you good in the good markets. Obviously, you're going to ramp up certain expenditure in good markets, but fundamentally, I think the core structure, particularly operationally from your business, I don't think you should approach it any differently in a strong or weak market. I think right now there are so many quality products and partners out there that give you that ability to really streamline everything and really to look at every little strain of your business in the sort of minutiae. If you're not already doing that, get on and do it.
Okay, I'd like to go to Ed Mead next. Ed, you ran Douglas & Gordon, big London agent in the last crash. What lessons have you got that you could teach people today?
Well, I mean, in the last crash, that wasn't as representative. I don't think that's going to happen now, because we had a V-shaped recovery in London because of the exchange rate falling. So things came back very, very quickly. But I think to your point about things getting tough, yeah, sure, things go up and down and round and about. And exactly as Kristjan's just said, I think everyone's got to be prepared, take advantage of what's currently around. But the point I would like to make is that people get, they might think, oh, it's going to get really tough. It's a question of management of your client's expectations. If the market is falling, or it's not a very good market, it's a great time to upgrade. You might sell what you own for a bit less, but what you'll buy for less. You might get 300,000 for your 350,000 pound flat, but you buy your 500,000 pound house for 400 grand. Who's winning there? So it's about management, and I think everybody should be looking at their costs now, regardless whether it's a tough or a good market.
I mean, let's be honest, it's been pretty tough last few years. The market might be good, but the number of agents. I'd like to go to Jamie.
London, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Jamie, then Andy, and then Iain.
Sorry, stuck on mute. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ed makes a good point. I don't know if it is going to be a tough market. The finance is going to be available. I can't see it being as we've seen in previous recessions. But I think we've got to focus on your service provision and taking advantage of opportunity on every aspect of the transactional journey. You got to make sure that you're making revenue that's increasing your average per transaction across the whole business.
The pie might be getting smaller, but we can certainly put more cream on the top.
That's exactly it.
Andy Soloman.
Oh, what a nice little segue, Chris. Cream. I was going to. It's almost like you're reading my mind. The best businesses are like cream; they will always rise to the top. And there's been some really sound advice from the guys on the call today, talking about building in efficiencies and making sure that you understand every single component part of your business in order to be able to stand the best chance of thriving. However, there is one thing which I've always felt is really, really important. And if you bear with me on this, it's essentially about understanding the things that you can't see. Because if you can understand the things that you can't see, as well as you can understand the things that you can see, you find other areas where you can start to turn the dial and tweak the dial and give yourself a relative advantage. You need to understand more about what your competitors are doing, looking in detail at how they are behaving in certain market characteristics. It's all about intelligence, and then acting accordingly. Using things such as mystery shopping or research to understand what other people are doing is a very good way to find out.
Ian White.
Yeah, I just picked up on what Ed said, really. I think every market makes a market. Whatever happens out there, good, bad, or indifferent, there will be an upside to it if you look hard enough. I think there will be additional revenue streams. Right now, if it was me, we've got Rory on the line, but and I wouldn't want to steal his thunder, but I would be massively over communicating now my expertise into the marketplace through social media, data, information, such as what Rory will be able to talk to you guys about in a minute, to just make sure that, because the value of your expertise goes up if the market becomes tough. So be the expert,
Too right.
Pushing out your expertise so your value goes up.
Too right. I'm going to come to you in a second, Kristjan, but I'd like to bring in Rory because it's relevant. Rory, you're part of Data Loft and you create great stats for estate agents to prove that they know what they're talking about. Why is that important? I know it's obvious, but just in case you've been living in a cave, why?
Well, I mean, it's important at all times, but when the market gets tougher and it's going to get more complicated to navigate, like Iain said, people do look to experts. So we're very much advocating that. What do you do now to prepare for a tough market? Actually, get on it right now before it gets tough. Almost up your level of communications. But what the key thing is what content you put out there, and what people are going to take longer to make decisions. They're going to need more reassurance. They're not going to know quite what's going on. They're going to look to an agent that can really intelligently tell them what's going on in their local market, that can share with them regular insights on the market, so that they can make informed decisions. And sometimes that might not be all brilliant news, but actually you'll get a lot of respect and build your brand and get trust from being honest with people.
It's almost, you need to plant the seeds now.
Exactly.
Whilst everyone's putting in the making the hay,
yeah.
You've got to plant the seeds now. So when it does get tough in 2021, which it will do, there's no two ways about it. How, we don't know. Those seeds are now growing into plants and trees.
Yeah, and it'd be a very different world where a lot of people will go with their second agent because their first agent won't have sold their home. And they'll be deliberating and they'll take longer to make decisions. And so you have to be that agent that's kind of in that top 3 wish list. So, I'll definitely give them a call. But the only way you can do that is if you're constantly in touch with them.
It amazes me that we are the gatekeepers to the second most interesting topic in the world to the British, which is the property market, first being the weather. Yet all we do is talk about ourselves and our firm and our Rightmove pie charts, which again, is a personal bugbear of mine. Final word to Kristjan Byfield, the last 30 seconds.
So look, I think tough markets are actually really exciting markets for good agents. We all know when a market is booming, being it sales or lettings, new agencies appear out of the ether, because in a booming market, it's easy to go in, tell a vendor what he wants to hear. If it doesn't sell now, in 3 months' time, the market's caught up with your valuation and you get it sold. When the market turns the other way, that stuff doesn't work. Those agents don't pick up instructions, don't deliver results. The quality agents that do everything we've all been talking about here, about local expertise, industry knowledge, having been through this previously, those are the agents who are going to deliver the results. And I know, in 2008, it was very scary for us. We organically grow at 10%. 2008 to 2010, we grew at 25%. And we're expecting to see a similar level of growth this year. So I think it's don't be afraid, be excited if you're good at what you do.
Like Andy Soloman says, Kareem rises to the top. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And let's wave goodbye and we'll see you on the next ICG webinar where we're talking even more awesome stuff to help you guys. Thank you.